nature, things of that 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 nature.
Babe, wake up. Sam Pittman got another commitment out of the transfer portal. What's up, everybody? Curtis Wilkerson, Andrew Ellis, Inside Arkansas, on the Pot of That Nature here at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. That means something happened. Otherwise, we wouldn't be. But a bit of good news for your coffee this morning. Arkansas lands, actually flips a transfer running back, Mike Washington, out of New Mexico State, 6'2", 215-pound New Yorker. Rushed for 725 yards and 8 touchdowns on 157 carries last season at New Mexico State. Was committed to Utah in the transfer portal just a few days ago, but then he popped up at Arkansas on a visit yesterday, committed today, so they're on the board. Arkansas now, after losing their first, second, and third string running backs, has picked one up, so they're on the board in the transfer portal. Andrew, what's up, buddy?
Well, Curtis, we had kind of thought we would be doing a stream on Saturday to cover an Arkansas running back transfer portal pickup. A few days, I didn't know who Mike Washington was until about 36 hours ago when his name started kind of getting circulated a little bit. And I was like, oh, okay. We still are hoping that Arkansas will land Ishmael Mahadi from Texas State. That's kind of the big one. But we also knew that Arkansas doesn't really have anything returning at running back outside of Rodney Hill, who's a nice player that we like. So we felt like, hey, it's another position where Arkansas doesn't really get to be picky. And so, look, you go out there and you get some stability. You get a guy in Mike Washington who, for fans that aren't familiar with him, you'll start doing your research. You're not going to be like blown away. You're not going to be like, whoa, this guy, just crazy resume. But what he is experienced. He had a little over 700 yards this past year at New Mexico State. Spent 3 years at Buffalo where he got some carries as well. 6'2", 215, which is notable to me. I like that a lot just because, Mahadi's 5'11", 190, 185, 190. Even Eli Sanders, not a massive running back. Rodney Hill, obviously not a massive running back. And so I feel like Arkansas needed some size, especially when you got a big load going out in Braylon Russell. You got to get a big load coming in. 6'2", 215, that'll do. He is quickly risen. He's not my number one favorite Razorback athlete named Mike Washington. I don't know if he's ever going to be able to pass up the center that I loved back in the day, headband Mike Washington, but we'll see.
Yeah. I was going to make the Mike Wash on the basketball floor comp too at some point here. Listen, it's a high bar to live up to, man. I'm just saying. And here's the thing about him. Yeah, and you're right. You're not going to look at him and be just completely wowed. But what he was last year at New Mexico State was part of basically a running back platoon. And that's what he's going to be at Arkansas. Like this is not a situation, or at least I would be stunned if it is a situation where they get Mike Washington from New Mexico State and that's it, baby. We're ready to roll in the running back room. No. Like I'm fairly confident they're going to go out and get another one, and that this guy is just going to factor into the mix for them. Just looking at his game log here, best game of the year came in his last game of the year against UTEP. He had 26 carries for 130 yards and a touchdown. As a receiving threat, I always forget to bring that up when I'm talking about running backs. Not so much, 9 receptions for 74 yards this year. He did have a touchdown, but we saw that with Jaquindon Jackson last year where he hadn't really caught that many passes and wound up being a pretty decent threat there. I do like the size. I'm with you, 6'2", 215 pounds. Some people had been asking me about, the running back position and Mahadi and, Rodney Hill, all these smaller guys, like you said. And I was like, yeah, and that's okay, but you'd like to have at least one running back with a little bit of ass to him. I think Mike Washington might have a little bit of ass to him, so that's good. That's good. You definitely need that. I wonder what he did, if I pull it up here, just at Buffalo at his prior stops.
He had a good year as a sophomore. It was his best year, I believe.
Yeah. Sophomore in 2022 had 150 carries for 625 yards, 7 rushing touchdowns. Not bad there. And he was pretty good as a pass catcher that year. He had 23 receptions and then was down a little bit in terms of total carries. I don't know if there was an injury or something in 2023, but there you have it. Arkansas is just out there. You get mad about Lane Kiffin poaching from the Hogs, and Sam Pittman's just out there poaching from everybody right now. He just goes and grabs a guy from Utah. What the hell did they ever do to him?
Yeah.
This is crazy. I'm just kidding.
Well, you don't really see the transfer flips too much because once a guy commits to transfer somewhere, you don't really see that see that guy change his mind a few days later. But here you have it. I see Woo Pig 00 says he doesn't have any highlights. Well, I think I can explain that a little bit. So let's just be we gotta be transparent about what Arkansas is getting here. This is a guy who has a decent track record of production. Like he's had multiple years of over 600 yards. He's played a good bit of college football. He averaged 4.6 yards per carry this past season. I believe he's 4.4 yards per carry for his career. That number, you'll take that. I mean, per play, that is a number that's pretty low for most running backs. Like whoever they land at running back next is going to have a higher yards per carry. Rashad Dubinion, for example, had a 6.0 yards per carry. So 4.4, 4.6 is pretty low. We're looking at more of a bruiser here. Let's just call it what it is. So this is not your big play guy. This is not your scat back. This is just kind of maybe your goal line, your red zone, your 3rd and 1, which honestly, I really do feel like Arkansas was going to need that. Obviously, Taylon Green is a quarterback that's going to run the ball. He'll probably be involved in some of those short yardage things, but I do think that getting a guy like this with some experience, with some stability helps. By the way, I saw someone bring up fumbles. So I was looking at it earlier. According to ESPN, Curtis, Mike Washington fumbled 6 times this past year, but only lost 1. I'll have to break down the film. I'll have to put on my film goggles and really see, were these real fumbles or were these, I'm falling out of bounds and the ball flew away?
Yeah.
Jaquinta Jackson, frankly, he had a decent amount of fumbles, but he recovered most of his fumbles.
He did.
The only one I can remember him losing was against Oklahoma State. So, I mean, I don't know what to make of it. Again, we'll dive into the film room and give you guys a breakdown one of these days.
Yeah.
Mike Washington fumble video, but we'll get War Machine to break that down. But
That's right.
again, like I think that the big part of all these transfer additions is just understanding what they are. And I don't think anybody should be looking at this as like, oh, this is a big time. This is our RB1. This is like our guy. We built the offseason around. Like, no, it's just one of those things. You got a running back who's got some production, got some experience, and he's going to bring some depth to the Arkansas running back room, which they really desperately needed. Like they really didn't have anything returning your running back. So I think that's why you see a move like this.
When you lose your top 3, you also got to go replace 2 and 3. That's just kind of where you're at. I love that he just tweeted out. He quote tweeted the Razorback football graphic, and he just said, "Change of plans."
That's
for the flip. That's pretty good. I like that. And I've got the PFF pulled up here, and I'll throw a couple things out there. And again, PFF not the end all be all, but especially when like he committed 10 minutes ago, so we haven't had time to go and look at a bunch of film, like you said. But these are just kind of what the numbers reflect for him. His offensive grade was 66.4, and so or you see that and you think, okay, average-ish there. That ranked 402nd out of 473 qualifying halfbacks in the country this year. His run grade overall was a 71. That was 291st out of 341 halfbacks this year. And his receiving grade was 41.2. That's 350th out of 357 halfbacks this year. So again, not going to knock your socks off. Like we're not here on this Saturday morning saying, the New Mexico State version of Darren McFadden is coming to Arkansas, but you had to go get some guys, and you got one of them. And I'm going to view this as I'll evaluate this room when it's complete. If they get Mahadi this weekend, and you got this guy too, then I can look at it and say, hey, nice job so far.
100%. I mean, if they land Mahadi, which by the way could happen today, we don't know that for sure, but it does seem like he's potentially announcing sometime this weekend. That's kind of what everyone said. All the people in the know have said he's going to commit this weekend, potentially Saturday. So I mean, this could be the first of 2 running back announcements for today. But Curtis, we would be remiss if we did not bring up what we were talking about right before we went live. There's been a couple times now where Arkansas's been in the mix for someone at a position, someone that the fan base unanimously likes, and then that person's either their visit leaves or their decision date comes, and Arkansas ends up bringing another person in with their at their position. We saw it with DT Sheffield and Raylan Sharp. As soon as DT Sheffield left campus, Raylan Sharp commits. I don't think those things happen by coincidence. Kendrick Law, as soon as he leaves campus, we start hearing rumors about Courtney Crutchfield. Kendrick Law is now committed to Kentucky. Like, I don't think that was a coincidence. Right. I cannot overemphasize this enough. I really, really do not want this to be the case with Ismail Mahadi. I don't think it is, because I haven't heard Mahadi really connected strongly to any other team. So whoever, if it is someone that stole him, they they did a damn good job. They were a thief in the night that just snuck in there. So I don't think that's what's happening here, but I would just like to get out in front of that in case something happens later today and it's a huge surprise and everybody's like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
If that's what happened, Razorback fans, you have every right to be a little bit concerned and maybe a little bit even upset.
Right. The jury's still out, by the way, on another one of those situations, but similarly, Arkansas lands defensive tackle David Oak yesterday out of Abilene Christian, and all of a sudden you're starting to see USC saying they feel really good about their chances with Jamal Jarrett, the big defensive tackle from Georgia. Hopefully Arkansas figures that one out and lands him too, but that's usually how it is. You land a similar guy and you start wondering, okay, are they going to get the other one? Not everybody's in a position like Arkansas where they need kind of two of everything. So we'll see. But yeah, that is the key. That's the X factor for me, is that you get Mahadi too, and then I'll be happy with what they got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, hey, it is worth noting, Jamal Jarrett did post an Instagram story in Razorback gear, and there was a Boss Man D-Lo track playing in the background. So we got to take that into consideration when you're talking about Jamal Jarrett.
I always do.
We got to note that. Kyle Fulton from Twitter says, why are we paying running backs when we have less money than 90% of conferences? Well, I would tell you that if they spend a ton of money here on Mike Washington, then I would be concerned. I don't think they did. I don't think that's what's happening here. I could be wrong. I mean, they did get him to flip from Utah. So, who knows? But I also see Hickory Hogs saying we're going with the NFL model by not overpaying for running backs. Not mad at it. And I think that's honestly accurate. I mean, that's kind of Michael Lombardi said that in his little seminar the other day where he was like, that's what we're going to do at Carolina. That's how we're going to build this program, this NFL program. Overpay for the premium positions, D-line, O-line, quarterback, figure it out everywhere else. And I honestly can't disagree with that. And we have a comment here from Bo Rich who says, every one of these podcasts say the same thing. You're not going to be blown away. I wonder why that is. Okay. Well, what do you want? What do you want from us? You want us to say
that's not true,
right? You want us to just be like, guys, this dude's a stud. Like he's gonna run for 2,000 yards. This is GT 2.0. Like we could do that, but like what would that accomplish?
There's a different program in the morning that'll tell you everything you want to hear, and not what's facts out there, man. Right. Hey, when the two offensive linemen committed the other day, we were through the moon about it, pumped about it. But when they're bringing in guys who profile as not starters or depth pieces or guys on the back end of that too deep, we're going to tell you that's what it is. It's just that's called reality. It's realism. People think everything's negative if it's not sunshine pumping. No, it's just evaluation. We just tell you what something is, and if it's good, it's good, and then people will yell at us and call us sunshine pumpers. If it's bad or not great or just a piece or just an addition, we'll tell you that's what it is. And if you think it's negative, then think it's negative. That's fine. I got time for the shit on Saturday morning, man. Got up to talk about a transfer running back at 9:00 on Saturday morning. And we were listening to this. Come on now. I'm just messing with you, Bo.
No, that's funny. No, but it is true. It's like, we're giving you the exact amount of energy that it needs when a second, third team running back commits to Arkansas at 9:15 on a Saturday morning. This is the energy you're going to get. Which, by the way, I want to thank Mike Washington for doing it when he did. Very bizarre time to commit, I will say, a little bit like 8:45 Saturday morning, unique time. But I'm literally, and you know this, Curtis, I'm literally about to go to like my extended family Christmas stuff in Sherwood, Arkansas. You ever been there?
Can't say I have. No,
me either. But my cousin lives there. Apparently, I don't know who was in charge of scheduling this, but we're going to Sherwood today. Okay. So if this had happened like an hour and a half later, I would probably not have been able to do it. So I appreciate him. He was like, you know what? I want Andrew to work today. And I wanted to work today because I always feel bad. Like last night when you and John are breaking down the commitment while I'm driving, that made me sad. I don't like to miss out on work. I like that I got to do a little bit of something here today. Sure. But I do want to say Jeremy Wilson's wanted to say any updates on the Idaho wide receiver. I don't have anything definitive for you, but the last I heard was they were trying to set up a visit. I think I haven't. Has that been confirmed?
Here? Yeah.
Which I mean, we'll see how that visit plays out. We'll see how much real interest there is, but he's one that I know we always joke about the like diamond in the rough and going and finding a guy under the radar. I actually really do think that is a guy who fits that description. I love his stats. I've seen like 4 clips of him, and I like all those 4 clips. That's one guy. I'm not going to say he's going to blow you away, but that is a guy that like I will be very pleased if Arkansas is able to get that done with the Idaho wide receiver. I'm not saying he's the next Andrew Armstrong, but it's kind of that model of a guy who's just a consistent overachiever who's been getting better and better and better. Now he's ready to test himself in the SEC. I'd be pretty pleased with that. I hope they're able to get it done, and it does seem like they're going to get him on campus. So we'll see what they can do from there.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know. Matt King said he's like, laugh my ass off, Idaho receiver. I get it. Dude's good though. Like it ain't just Arkansas that's trying to get this cat. So I think Washington, USC, he's got a bunch of schools out there on him. So we'll see if Arkansas lands him. Who knows? I think we're done here.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I'll just say this one thing because Ryan McDaniel says, do y'all think Mahadi is a dude? Probably tough on a sub 200 back in the SEC. Dude, I mean,
dude, yeah.
Yeah, like I think he's a good running back. I think he's objectively a good running back. He's got a lot of production in his career. I mean, he was borderline All-American a couple years ago at Texas State. I think he can be used in the right way. He can be effective. But that's the only thing that my only question mark is he's 185 pounds, 190 pounds, which doesn't make me question whether or not he can be effective in the SEC. We've seen plenty of scat back type of guys be effective in the SEC, but can those guys handle the ball 20, 25 times a game? That's where I'm like I have my questions, which is why I think it was so important for them to get some depth in the running back room, which you just don't have. It's why I wanted Rashad Dubinion to stick around, frankly. Not that Rashad Dubinion's a big bruiser, but just to have another guy with experience you can count on. And so that's kind of why I like this move. And so if they're able to get Mahadi, I'll be fine with Arkansas's running back room. I'm like, you know what, that'll do. And I've also always said 1,000 times, like, I don't think running back rooms outside of the 2006, 2007 Razorbacks, I don't think you build elite teams through the running back room regularly. It's not really a thing that happens much.
Right. Yeah, no, I hear you, brother, for sure. And yeah, that's dude in terms of giving him 25 carries a game. Not going to be him with Mahadi. But if you got him in, like you said, if you use him the right way and you've got him, in a bit of a platoon there, he can be a really effective player for you. And I'm excited to see what he's got because he put up some crazy ass numbers a couple years ago at Texas State. He was really good again this year, and I think he was dealing through some injuries there. SCT say quick hook Kurt there. Kurt need the coffee. Listen, sometimes you got to wrap Andrew up, man.
No, that's true.
Sometimes you got to do that. But no, the truth is, hey, for the people who listen, if we were super negative about this and we didn't want to be doing it, I wouldn't have left my dinner early yesterday to drive home and speed home and cover David Oak. I wouldn't have got up this early Saturday morning to do this, and I wouldn't be staying home from the basketball game today because there's a chance there could be multiple commitments and we need a face in front of a microphone. So that's just part of the deal here. I'm conserving the old vocal cords just in case. You never know what's going to happen, but I do appreciate everybody getting up and having their coffee with us this morning. I do need my coffee though. I'm not going to lie. I need it. I need it bad, man.
Yeah, we were scrambling to get out here. We didn't have time to really even get any nutrients in our system before we did this. But Curtis, you're the face of the operation, and when you're our most handsome face, we got to throw you on camera as many times as we can. And it's what comes with the territory,
Well, hey, and listen, I was in like Connecticut and New York and stuff, a couple weeks ago, and you guys were holding down the fort. So it's what we do. We help each other out. We all three have lives, so. When people got the family stuff going on, somebody else steps up. That's how we roll, It's
very debatable. But Curtis, I do have to keep us around for just one more second. Okay. Because we got a super chat. Anytime we get a super chat, we have to stick around. And so Heartbroken Hogs sends us he sends us a few, and he says thoughts on the Indy Notre Dame game. Which, by the way, I live bet Indiana at plus 10.5 early on. I think it was after the 98-yard touchdown. And I stopped watching the game and was very pleased to find out that they backdoor covered that.
That was nice. The most deceiving final score in history.
The most lopsided 10-point victory of all time.
Like 2 touchdowns in the last 90 seconds or whatever. Indiana was fraudulent, man. Coach Sig, very disappointed because he'll talk it. He'll talk it now, and then he punts, in Notre Dame territory, down 17 points with 10 minutes left or whatever. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to switch up a little bit. But, yeah, that was I was hoping for more. That atmosphere was electric, though. Doing this on campuses for these opening round games is freaking – it's really cool. Like, I'm excited for all 3 of these games today. It's cool that they've done that. And it just never registered to me until they were about to kick off where I was like, man – like conference championships, big bowl game, playoff game. Like they've never done this before. This is a first. And it's really cool, man. It was electric.
It was cool. And the lights were a little too bright for Indiana. But
Yeah.
it's that's what makes the decision to punt worse. I don't shame kids. I really don't. They're just kids, Curtis. But if I were shaming kids, I would be shaming that Indiana punter. That guy.
Woo.
Rough go of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was tough on him, man. And he blew the Ohio State game for him, too. They would have lost anyway, but he's the one who really turned it by not being able to take the snap. So crazy times. Crazy times. All right. Well, I guess we're out of here, folks. Thank you, Heartbroken Hog. By the way, we appreciate that. And yes, Arkansas basketball is at 1:30 today, Central Time, Bud Walton Arena. Palace post game show still happening afterwards, so make sure you tap in with that. And I mean, like if you're not subscribed to Inside Arkansas YouTube channel, I don't know what you're doing if you're also watching this. So do that for us. We'd appreciate that. Hit that notification bell because when this stuff happens, we go live. And if it's early in the morning like this, somebody might be eating their Fruit Loops and not paying attention. You get the notification, and that's how you know it happened. Instead of messing with a bunch of Twitter noties out there, just do it for us, and then we're good to go. We appreciate y'all. Everybody have a good weekend or a good few hours until we see you again. For Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas on the Pod of That Nature. Later.